Is it time for precious metals investors to hold on? Relax a little bit. If you've invested in silver, gold, platinum, palladium, hey, most likely the last couple of weeks, the last couple of months haven't been all that great. But when we take a step back and look at the big picture, and we're going to look at something in particular with silver tonight, maybe things aren't as bad and dire as the general market mood is indicating. Maybe actually we have reason to be optimistic. And that's what we're going to talk about in this video, because there's so much going on. This week we heard from the Fed, right? We got the hawkish pause. We got a pause in interest rate hikes, but they wanted to make sure that they were hawkish still, just to keep a little fear, to keep the dollar up. So important to remember. There's a great article on Sprott Money, Eric Sprott's big company out of Canada, talking about how they see $2,300 gold by the end of the year. But what's fascinating in this article is they bring up the point that maybe we forget to think about, that in the past interest rate hiking cycles, the Fed went through the exact same thing. They raised rates and then they jawbone. And typically, after they stop raising rates, once they pause, it's about only 90 days on average until they start cutting rates. So this idea that they paused but kept the hawkish language, right, which kept a cap on the silver and gold price, that's not unusual, guys. That's what they've done every other time. They're not going to say, it makes sense, right? They're not going to pause and then suddenly say, oh, we're going to be lowering rates next month. No, they need to kind of, keep the BS alive. And that's exactly what they're doing. So just from that perspective alone, the future for the silver price and the gold price, think about that. If in 90 days we're getting an interest rate cut, what do you think that would do for the price of silver and gold? Let me ask you in the comments section. Say yes or no. Do you think that it's possible that within 90 days we could actually see an interest rate cut? Because that's it. What the guy from Sprott didn't exactly say that. I believe it was Craig Hemke, who's a great author, a great analyst in this field. But he's talking about the fact that once the Fed pauses, usually we see cuts within 90 days. So I knew we weren't going to get a unanimous decision on that. Neil says no. Chris says no. Fast landing, yes. Sean Cornish, no. Noel says yes. And XRP Tiny Papa Boderbach says no. Hi, Ghost in Plain Sight. Noah, no. See, people think no. Yes, September, October will be when the banks start collapsing again. And I was talking to CoinShop Chris earlier. He's talking about, and I'm not putting words into his mouth. He can correct me in the comments section. But he's talking about how a lot of the other content creators out there are talking about more banks failing. And that kind of makes sense. I think especially if interest rates continue to go up. Even if the Fed doesn't raise rates themselves, if the 10-year bond rate keeps going up, that makes the value of the bonds that the banks hold go down. You got to realize, I got to say the analogy. I'm sorry, but it's like a popcorn, like you're popping popcorn. The oil's getting hot. 3 of the kernels pop. Those are the 3 big banks that went poof, right? That oil is still hot. And those other kernels, all the other banks, a lot of companies, millions, hundreds of thousands of companies are still in that hot oil as rates are going up. The zombie companies, we're going to have more pops. We had Pyrex, the kitchen dishware maker, claim bankruptcy. Instapot, the modern version of the crock pot, they went bankrupt. Companies that have a lot of debt are under much stress. The banks that are holding all the government debt, are under a lot of stress. So when they start to pop as rates go up, that could easily be the reason why we get interest rate cuts. The Fed has to act quick, right? And here's the other thing, and this is not an economic show, but this is so important for us to realize. All those companies in particular, right? That there's a lag effect. All their debt didn't come due last week. Their debt is staggered out into the next year or two. So if they had a loan with the bank and they had borrowed, let's say $300 million, maybe they had a rate of 3 or 4%. When that loan comes due and they need to refinance it, now they're looking at double the interest rate, double the interest expense, and a lot of them can't afford it. Okay, so just in that area alone, yes, we could see Craig Hemke. I don't want to put words in his mouth, but the guys at Sprott are put out an article last week. They're calling for $2,300 gold price by the end of the year. $2,300 gold. What do you think? If we get the $2,300 gold, where do you think the silver price will be? I have a number in my head. Let's see if you and I agree, and we don't have to agree, but put it in the comment section. I want to see, what do you think? 35. Okay, that's not my number, but close. $7,000, Neil. CoinShop Chris calls for $61 silver, $30 silver, $30 silver. Come on, give me some more guesses. $35 silver from Sassy Silver. Yeah, $40, $44. That's a little higher than I was thinking. In my mind, I for some reason saw $80 an ounce, $75, $35 an ounce. I'm seeing in that 32 to 36 range. Triple digit. No, we like the way you think. So, guys, let's move on. And by the way, I have 2 packages came today. This one, and I have a strong idea what's in here from my friend Paul in California. And this is a mystery package. I don't know what's in here. So I'm going to open that up a little bit later, and I'm going to open this one up from Paul as well. I know what's in there, and I'm very excited to open it and share it with you guys, and we'll do that a little later. The other big thing going on, and guys, this is where we want to be smart. We want to realize, we want to read between the lines, okay? Do we need to be concerned because all the coin shops are whining? And I'm not putting them down. It's tough right now. Coin shops, their sales have fallen off a cliff. Oh my God, right? Like sales in the coin shops are down. 9 weeks ago, 10, 12 weeks ago, they had record sales numbers. Now things have completely fallen off a cliff. There's still some big buyers. There's still some big money buyers that are buying big orders of gold and silver. But the normal retail investor, the person who's buying, let's say, somewhere between 1 and 20 ounces of silver, from what I understand, those people have pretty much disappeared. Should we freak out, right? Well, why? Why is that happening? Number one, probably because the economy is slowing down precipitously. So we got a lot of people out there who are living on their credit cards, have no savings, right? We have record credit card debt in this country right now, record high interest rates on credit cards. So we have all these people that are living on their credit cards. They don't have any extra money. The small retail investor, on average, on aggregate, doesn't have the money to go buy that ounce. Or maybe even they're needing to sell some silver. I'm hearing reports from some coin dealers that on some days we are buying more silver from the public than we're selling to them. Okay. Now, should we be freaked about this? Is this a horrific situation? I mean, look, I'm just like you. We have our blinders on. No. And I'll tell you why. It's not a good thing. And I certainly wish everybody could go out and buy all the silver they want. But from a silver price perspective, okay, here, I have data for you from the Silver Institute, okay? If we look at that, a couple interesting things. Number one, there were over 240 million more ounces of silver demanded last year than were made available from mining and recycling, right? There was a deficit. We know that already. But Total physical silver investment, 333 million ounces out of a total of 1.242. Silver investment, right? Just people that are buying silver as an investment, that's only 25% of the total demand picture for silver. Now, factor in what we talked about earlier, right? The big buyers, a lot of the big buyers are still there, okay? So you're only talking about 25% of the total demand picture for silver, okay? And we're only talking about the small retail investors that are maybe going to coin shops, right? I'm not putting us down. That's me and you, okay? But we're just a segment of that segment, okay? The other thing to remember, need I remind you, silver is a worldwide market, right? And when they say investment, they just don't mean people that are stackers. They mean the ETFs. They mean all types of different large-scale silver investments. And it's a worldwide market. Remember last year, India alone purchased 300 million ounces of silver, right? The Chinese, okay, let's just back up for a second. Let's talk about the Chinese. I'm getting too excited. I gotta slow down, take a breath. The Chinese are screaming about the silver situation. They are angry, okay? There's state media reports in China right now where they're going to the smelters, the people that refine the silver, and these guys at the smelters are saying, we can't keep up with demand. We cannot keep up with demand. And they're mocking the United States. They're mocking our friends at the COMEX and the LBMA. Yes, the electronic exchanges where the price is supposedly established. They're saying they're basing the price of silver off of unemployment numbers or interest rate numbers. They're like, all we know is we can't get enough silver to supply demand. So as we bring this back to this, oh my gosh, the sky is falling. The local coin shop sales are down. And look, I feel for the local coin shop guys, okay? Absolutely. But from a silver price, from a silver big picture perspective, it's not that big of a deal because the world is demanding more silver, okay? And when we look at the local coin shop or the online bullion retailer segment, right? It's big, it's important, but it's not that important. We tend to give it way too much weighting, way too much importance, if you will. The other thing to remember, we are in the summertime doldrums. Silver and gold always struggle a bit during the summer. That's been that way for decades, especially June into early July. So we are trudging through. But let's not forget, right, the silver price, right? The silver price right now. What do you think? How do you feel? How do you feel about silver at $24 an ounce? Good or bad? I want to hear in the comments because it seems like everybody's feeling bad about what's going on with silver, okay? And gold too, for that matter. We'll talk about that in a second. But do you feel good or bad about where we are right now? See, bad. Fast landing, good. Okay, Ghost, back up the truck. Ghost in plain sight says, hello, Carl Nyman. Hello, Faustino. How do you guys feel about this current gold and silver price? Silver price in particular. I'm sorry, we're going to get to gold in a second. Buy platinum. I thought we wanted it to go up. For buying, it's good. I am glad. Good to buy. Good to buy, but bad. Bad. I know, 10-ounce bars, no problem. Hey, okay, so 1850 silver, 1850 gold, good for buying, but nowhere near its value. I agree with you 100%, okay? But $24 silver, historically, when we look back over the last 5 years, is pretty good. I'm not saying I like it. I'm not saying that it reflects reality. But let's look on the bright side. We could be building a strong base. And have you noticed that lately? Have you noticed how silver has been like kind of steady Eddie in the 23 to 25 range, 24 range, really, like silver. And that's what commodities or investments or stocks do when they're in that little range. It's building a base, meaning anybody who wanted to sell has probably sold for the most part. Okay, so when silver starts to go up, it could be explosive. And that's the other cool thing that we need to talk about with silver. Let's say we get that $2,300 gold. Once silver breaks out again, you got a lot of people who are kind of waiting on the sidelines saying, oh, I think it might go down. I think it might go down lower. It's not going, let's say it's not going down. It's not going down. Okay. So when it doesn't go down, right, and starts to go up, you're going to have a lot of people who are going to pull the trigger quickly. And you get a double whammy with silver because that's what people always do anyway. But we've got the spring wound up even so much tighter this time, right? So many people that are kind of, I'm doing it myself. I'll be honest. Okay. Right. I haven't bought any new silver for, gosh, probably not 12 weeks. Excuse me. I thought I put you on mute, but I didn't. So, you know, if, and I'm just like, well, it could go lower. It could go lower. If it doesn't go lower and starts going up, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to have FOMO, fear of missing out, and they're going to want to jump right in. What's going on with gold? Sentiment. Horrific right now. Absolutely horrible. Okay. They say with the gold and silver mining stocks right now that sentiment, again, has never been worse. They tried to tell us that same thing about a year ago, but it got worse, right? It's going to be hard for it to get even more worse. And I'm telling you guys, once we get this move up for gold into a new all-time high, for silver, who's going to be following the lead of gold, it could be some really fast, sharp moves. Let's open these packages. What do you say? I'm going to open this big one first. I have no idea who this is from, but it is from New Hampshire. So I need to open this up, and then I've got this other one. I know what's in here, but I've not opened it. I did that to you guys once before. I acted like I was opening stuff, but I'd already opened it, and I couldn't sleep for 3 days. All right, let's see. Uh-oh, it's red. Oh, wow. What is this? Aria. Wow. This is really cool. All right. Alpine Gold Exchange. I believe this cool red shirt came from my friend Adam Van at the Alpine Gold Exchange. Check that out. Very, very cool. Wow. Thank you, Adam. Oh, how could he have ever guessed my favorite color shirt to wear? Wow, that is, look at that. That is nice. Okay, now, thank you, Adam. You'll see me wearing it soon. Let's open this one up. This is from my friend Paul in California, and I know what's in here, and I cannot wait to share it with you. Oh, yeah. Wow. It's a 1 ounce. Look at this, guys. It's from a place called the Coin Corner. It's a 1 ounce silver bar. And supposedly this guy, Dave, at the Coin Corner, it's out in California, I believe, is a really, really cool guy. Yeah, look at that. Here. Look at that. Thank you, Paul. And I think I may even have Dave on at some point, if he's interested, to have a chat with him, to get a feel from a coin shop owner about what's going on. Would you guys like that? I don't know. Let me know. All right, guys, questions? Hello, Susie's here. Susie! That's Silver Susie, my wife, who's an integral part of the channel and an integral part of my life. You guys would love Silver Susie, and we're actually going to do an interview with her soon so you can hear her beautiful voice. Uncle Jed bought all of his bullion at Dave's. Oh, that's cool. Really? Yeah, supposedly this guy Dave is a great guy. And again, Paul K., thank you for sending. Wow, I'm so excited. Check that out. Wait till Susie. I got to make sure Susie doesn't see that. Oh my gosh. Now that I'm looking, look at the detail on the back of that thing. That is cool. I don't know if you can see that. That is very, very cool. When we go back to talking about China and silver, that's where things get very, very interesting. Look at this. I got a couple tweets that I printed out for you guys. Shanghai. This shows, can you read Chinese? I can't read Chinese, but what that says basically is that in China, the price of silver is different than it is in the United States. China has their own metals market now, the Shanghai Exchange, for lack of a better way to describe it. And people are starting to wake up and realize that the price in China is different than the price of the USA. This is super interesting. We have a new word, photovoltaic. We don't talk about solar. We talk about photovoltaic. Solar. China, rapid growth. Here, Ministry of Industry and Information. From March to April, the national export of photovoltaic products increased by 30%. Okay, guys, and I had a great piece that talked about this. Here, blow your mind. They're estimating that by the year 2050, photovoltaic or solar demand for silver could be using 98% of the world's silver reserves. What do you think about that? Really? Hey, by the way, please give this a thumbs up. When we get to 100 thumbs up, I'll ring the bell 10 times. You know that. I know. What a super treat, right? What is the price in China? I don't know because I can't read Chinese, Faustino, but I will tell you that I've heard numerous analysts lately point to the fact that the price of silver and gold, but I think more so silver, is different in China than the United. We're not talking like, massive amounts, but noticeably different. There's a much higher premium to buy silver in the actual markets over there. It's an actual different price. There's no other way to say it. And they're serious about this. I mean, they're saying over there, like, hey, we need to they're talking about starting an OPEC type organization for silver producers. And look what Mexico's doing. Mexico is big changes in their mining industry to control silver. In Mexico, they're just like the country that puts out 25% of the world's silver. So things are changing. Things are changing very quickly. Hello, Blaine. Susie works her fingers to the bone, working with mulch. Ron watches out the basement window. Yes, Susie did a great job putting mulch around the house. No doubt about it. Questions? Please, all caps, or anything you want me to talk about, all caps. I will be happy to do it. Another interesting thing that I bumped into this week. Did you have any idea how much the silver the defense industry uses? Any clue? It blew me away. Now, this comes from a website called Pickaxe. They're talking about silver being used in weapons system, missiles, bullets, defense industry electronics products, missiles, I said that already, night vision goggles, communication equipment, shells, bullets, radar systems. This says the use of silver in defense applications is a significant factor in the global silver market. The defense sector is one of the largest consumers of silver, and it's estimated that the defense industry accounts for up to 20% of global silver demand. I don't know, that blew me away. But then what was even more interesting was when I considered the fact that a lot of that silver used by the defense industry, it's in ammunition, it gets blown to smithereens. It's not like it can be recovered or reused, right? A lot of it probably is, I don't know. I mean, I guess it could be recovered, but for the most part, it's going to be like going bye-bye. Bye-bye. All right, let me know where you're joining me from tonight. Always one of the funnest parts of the show for me. Yes, everybody, please give Susie a heart. She's a doll, a wonderful wife. We call her Silver Susie. The moon. Yes. Welcome, Coin Shop Chris from the moon. Lone Jack. All right, Coda. Ura, oorah, Silver Sliver. Isn't that the truth? Right? Canada, Crazy Legs for Life. Isn't that the truth? We are still a sliver of a sliver. Hello, Richard Cooper from England, Staffordshire. Angela from Nashville. Cara loves Susie from Minnesota. Susie's the coolest. Let me tell you something about Susie. She is, I don't know if she's still on here or not. She is one of the most steady, reliable people that you're ever gonna meet in your life. One thing I always, she's on there. She's upstairs. Well, I've always said this about Susie is a great compliment. What you see on the street, how she treats people is exactly how she treats us at home. There's no difference. And I will tell you that, like, as a mother to our daughters and even as a wife to me, right, we have our issues. We yelled at each other the other night. Of course, I was wrong, but just a really cool person and a great help with the channel. Sorry, Susie, I didn't mean to get too mushy on you there. Table Rock Lake, Sharon, all right. We were just there. You told us that town we were in. I forgot the name of it, by the bridge. Hey, Ron from Haleyville, Alabama. Hey, Carl. 420 Stacker from North Carolina, Blaines in Evansville, Arkansas in the house, Mr. Vance, Robert in Maryland. Hello, Debbie Keeley. Nice to have you in the basement. Richard Cooper, who's going to press the new shirt? That would be me, because you know what? I love Susie, but I can tell you, I can iron shirts. She cannot. And she'll admit to that. When we moved in, I'll have to show you sometime. I used to get this magazine called, what was it called? The Home Mechanic or the Home something? I forget what it was called, but it was like little projects you could do around the house. And it had this idea where you could build an ironing station. And I built it. I went and got like tubing and electric. And so you can like have your iron. And she never used it. I tried. So I do the ironing, which Kimberling City. Yes, that's right. The city by the bridge. We stayed in a condo right by the bridge. Fun. That was fun. That was a fun time. All right. Great state of Wyoming. Hey, guys. I appreciate all of you being here, your ongoing support. It's been the sentiment is been a challenge, right, in the precious metal sector. If you're a holder of the metals, it hasn't been that horrible. But, you know, if you work in a coin shop or if you own the silver or gold mining stocks, it's tough. It's been a tough road. The sentiment, the feeling is down. But that always changes. I was listening to Keith Neumeyer just the other day talk about this with Dan Wilton from First Mining Gold. He was like, it always changes. It always gets better, right? And it's no fun. And it's like I remember when the dollar was super high back in October last year, I heard somebody say when it's raining, it feels like it's never going to stop raining, but it always stops raining. Okay. So I'm waiting to get to 100 thumbs up so I can ring that bell for you guys. Okay. Again, hang in there. Things will get better. All right. And until next time, you be well.